Hi, it's me. Welcome to Makeup by the Numbers, where I am going to talk about things in a little bit more of a data driven and scientific approach. And today's video is going to be focusing on the products that I have panned for about the last 6 months. I'm going to take everything back to January that I've used and kind of walk you through it and what I'll be repurchasing and what I won't. Spoiler alert, as I look over my list, I'm not actually going to be repurchasing hardly any of it. I couldn't decide if I wanted to start with kind of like the best or the worst. So I'm going to start kind of in the middle and then we'll just move on from there. So I've gone through at least two micellar waters. That makes sense because I use this every day to take off my eye makeup and just to like freshen up my face in the morning. I use a lot of micellar water. I have sometimes reactive skin and I like something that I can go to, such as this. I used the Garnier Fructis, and that was not micellar water. That was, I mean, they advertised it that way, don't get me wrong. But it was sudsy, so there's some sort of soap and surfactant in it, and it smelled, so there's some sort of perfume in it, and it irritated my eyes, and I did not appreciate that, so I'll never buy the Garnier again. So I replaced that coming in January with the Burt's Bees, and this one was a little bit better. It's still not a pure micellar water, but it has coconut and lotus water in it and it didn't bother me, and it's still a little bit cheaper than the Tarte, which I've been using. I've been trying to find like a really good dupe for that, and I'm not going to be replacing it, but I do recommend this if you're on a budget and you're looking for something, quick and easy that you can get at the drugstore. So I was very pleased with that. Um, Once I used that, I decided to try the Sephora brand, which has zinc in it. I don't know why, but I was also very pleased with this. This is the closest I'm coming to sort of an economic dupe for tarts, but I did see that Humblebee and Me made a recipe and she put that on her channel for micellar water. I haven't taken the plunge and made it myself, but I'm actually thinking I might, just because I go through so much of it. It would be very cost effective for me to make it. Um, Really, honestly, I still like Tarte the best, but Sephora is close enough that I'm probably going to continue to use this until I come up with a better product. But yeah, so far, obviously, you're going to keep buying micellar water, just haven't found, the cheapest, best one. So I'm using Sephora just to hold me down a little bit. I got a couple, I'm so lazy, I'm just throwing those bottles on the floor. Like, I'll clean this up later. Like, I'm the one who's going to have to do it. I do have two samples that I went through, and they look like they're about the same size, but hear me out, they're very, very different. So this is the Youth to the People niacinamide U serum. It has retinol in it. So this is going to be one of those things that if you use regularly, it's going to produce probably some good results. I know these are really good products for the skin, but where I'm having trouble with this sample is it looks like there's a lot, but I got 2 uses out of this. I'm like, that's not enough to judge if you like a product and if you're seeing the results. So actually kind of disappointed in this because, retinol can be like slightly off-putting. It's, thick and yellow. It didn't smell that great. It didn't smell bad, but, it it's a product which can cause irritation. Even niacinamide causes my skin to flush, and retinol can cause you to break out in rashes, and depending how strongly your skin reacts to it, and you need time for that. And I would rather pay like a discounted mini price than get a sample, which I can't use because this is a big product. This is a lot of glass for something that you aren't able to use. So I can't even review this product because I didn't even get enough in it. But just fair warning, you're not going to. If you need to test out a product to see if it reacts to your skin, you can't with this particular brand. I also got a sample in Fenty, and I'm talking about small sample sizes. Even though this looks like a small sample, I got about 2 weeks of usage. Now I have a spot of discoloration. This is Tone. I probably can't see it on the camera because it's gray on pink, but it's a vitamin C serum. It's supposed to be brightening and it's supposed to help with hyperpigmentation. Hyperpigmentation is not something that I have, but I do have a little bit of sun damage under this eye, somewhere around here. You probably can't pick up on camera again because it's so slight, and I wasn't really able to see any sort of change with this product, but I can tell you that it went on easy to the skin. I got enough use out of it to know that I can wear it daily without any sort of issues with the skin, and As far as vitamin C serums go, it was absolutely fine. It's just not really a product that I need. Um, the issue that I have with it, no, though, is that Fenty line, you know, she is um, definitely a prestige brand if she's not luxury, and there's better alternatives for vitamin C serums if that's all you really want. There's other products that also help with hyperpigmentation, and this didn't work any miracles on the small sun damage that I have. So although I was really happy to get this as a sample, and I was trying out niacinamide and vitamin C and PHA and some toners, I made like a skincare run, and this is one of the things that I selected. Um, the reality is you have to ask yourself, is this worth the money? And I honestly don't know that a lot of Fenty products are worth the money right now. Like, I kind of like her line, and I love two of her highlighters. Like, I have two highlighters by her, but I would not pay good money for this. So some things that I liked a little bit better were this lotion. I panned this entire lotion, which is kind of interesting because I usually don't. And I'm not into like homeopathic medicine, which this is, but it was for my scar, and it also helps with swelling, bruises, redness, irritation, muscle stiffness, muscle soreness. So I was using it on my scar, but I was using it on my legs after I worked out. I was using it whenever I had like a bruise, and honestly, it felt great. I mean, it's fragrance free, so it smells a little bit off, and it had a really thick, nice consistency to make it nice to work into things, like to work into your skin. Some of the, I don't really love watery, runny lotions that feel like water because that's the ingredient. That's why they feel watery. This has some substance to it. And again, I'm not going to repurchase it because I don't feel like I need this particular type of product. But there's a reason I went through this entire tube because it was really great. And I kind of wish it would get FDA evaluated, but we'll see. Next, I have a highlighter, and this was definitely something that I was trying to pan. I'd say I succeeded. I got about halfway through and I was really frustrated because I'm like, it's taking forever to go through this highlighter. So I ended up putting it in a lotion and putting it in a couple different products. I could have used it as an eyeshadow, but I have so many eyeshadows that I'm going through, I would never pan it. And overall, I would say this is, you know, it was a great sandy pink shade, which is great for people with fair skin. It's pretty finely milled, not the finest I've seen. It doesn't have a cast, but it's not super translucent. It's really flattering, but you know, it's not metallic or super shimmery or super glittery or super anything. I found that this is, the shade Moonlight here is just a very safe highlighter and a safe product, and it was easy to go to every day for work or for whatever I was wearing, that I could like not think about it going or clashing with my makeup, and it was very flattering. And I can tell you I'm not going to rebuy it because I want something more. I want something more pigmented or more metallic or more glittery or more finely milled or more something. This is just safe, and I enjoy experimenting. I enjoy buying new products, and I enjoy other things. Like, this was always only okay. So if you're interested in this type of product, I do recommend it. I used the entire thing. Obviously, I was enjoying it for about half that life expectancy until I gave up and put it in some lotion. But I will not be rebuying this. And I did break it, but that's beside the point. So it's not for me, but it might be for you, I guess, is my roundup. Moving on, I tubbed a mini lip gloss. I actually am about to tub one in, I don't think I have 2 weeks in it, so I'm actually really excited about that. This was a very flattering color. It's my natural lip shade, which isn't too far off from the lip gloss I have on now. It's the shade Only You by Ilia. It's slippery without being sticky. It didn't rub off. It didn't really have great longevity either because it was just a lip gloss, but I really, really enjoyed this. I almost put it in my, hey, this is a great product, but there are two things. First, age of it, like as it got older, And I did use this pretty quickly, even though I've had it for a while. Once I opened it and used it, I used it within 6 months, I think. It did get a little, again, not bad smelling, but not pleasant. It did start to get a little thick. It didn't really age well, and for the longevity of it was the issue that I really had, where you put it off and it came right on. But as long as you didn't eat or drink, you don't do like a lot of excessive amount of topping, like recording YouTube videos. If you aren't doing that, it did work out pretty well. So I'm going to say it was a fairly favorite formula. It was very hydrating. I love the way it looked. So it's a good product, but I'm not going to be repurchasing it specifically for that. I might just repurchase it as like something to sit on my lips, but for hydration, but maybe not as makeup. I haven't really decided, but this is good but not great, and I do recommend it. Moving on to, I think, my first and only drugstore product. Two. Okay, I have two drugstore makeup products. I use this L'Oreal Voluminous. Um, I like it. It's not as good as the telescopic, but it's close enough. The brush is just kind of so and so. It's just a standard brush. It's a little bit big with a tiny taper. It was kind of black, kind of thickening, kind of lengthening, but I loved it because it had good longevity. It didn't run in the shower. Well, it did, but not like terribly enough too much, and it was easy to clean up. It was just a really good all around mascara, and that's the issue that I have with it. I can't say it's great. It's not the super lengthening, which I prefer. It wasn't super super black. It wasn't super super thickening. It was just really good all around. Same with the lip gloss, same with that highlighter. It was safe. I loved it. I could reach for it every day, but I don't think I'm going to be repurchasing it, just because I know L'Oreal does better mascaras and other companies do better mascaras than L'Oreal. But I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad that I have it. I enjoyed using it, and when it got used up, I was disappointed, but I was excited at the same time to use something else. So that's kind of my take on it and my mini review. Last but not least in this good but not great category is the Seraphine Luna Liner. This is a felt tip liquid liner, and I loved it at first. I got about 4 months out of it, but I'm going to say 2 months was really good, pigmented, inky, and black, and the way I love my liquid liners, and about 2 months of it was just kind of like, okay. Not just because it started losing pigmentation, but also if you look at the brush tip and this really, really sharp edge, it got damaged. So it was really difficult to leave sort of a really pigmented line on my eyes. And so many companies do great liquid liners that are black and pigmented. Okay, this is better than anything I've ever bought in a drugstore. I'll give it that. It's way better than Shany or anything I've ever ordered off Amazon, which is basically like kids makeup. And it was about the same as a Mellow. I can't remember what brand it was, but it was the Mellow line of liner. It's right up there, but I'll tell you the AVH that I have is better. The Tarte Maneater line is better. The what I have on my nose right now, KT Tattooed Liner. That one's amazing. I love that. So this is just good but not great, and I'm kind of disappointed in the felt tip not really holding up and not really holding the pigmentation throughout the lifespan of the product. But for something that, again, I got, I think this was probably a BoxyCharm or an Ipsy, something I didn't really pick out. For what it is, it's pretty good, but I won't be repurchasing this. I go through eyeliners enough to know that's what's good and what's not, and this was good but not great. So I'm stuck with two categories left. I'm looking over at my best and my worst, and worst is fun, so we're going to save that for last. So I normally don't review like really small samples. The only reason I'm having this is because this is a pan, and this came a pan video, and it came in 3, so I've used 3 of them for multiple days. This is the YSL New Pinch. I wish they had more colors, because this is a cheek and lip balm, and normally I don't like cheap and lip products, because if it's a great lip product, it's not good on the cheeks and vice versa. But This one sat on the cheeks. It was dewy but not sticky. It was balmy. It was nourishing to the lips. It had a little bit of longevity and a little bit of pigment, and the three shades they have are really flattering. They have this peachy nude, a pink, and then like a darker, more intense red. And I do not think I would pull off the dark red just because it's not my complexion. It's not suitable for me, I thought. But the fact that I can use, as pale as I am, all three colors in their line, and I was satisfied with the formula of every single one. I actually went to buy this YSL, got a little sticker shock, and thought, I really do not need another lip product, and I don't use balmy cheek products very often. I prefer powders because I have oily skin and I like to set my foundation a little bit. So I didn't rebuy it, but I would. I do recommend it, and I really, really loved this product. I still have a little bit left of the third sample pack I have because I hoarded them because I like them so much. But that's basically what I used for almost a week. Just used, this is going to be sticky as heck because it's been open. But, I mean, this is just almost invisible on my skin because it's that really pretty, cheeky, pinched color. But I would not be mad if someone gifted me this. Hint, hint. Nobody's watching. My husband doesn't watch these. Next up is SheGlam, and I got into this because I wanted to start contouring and I didn't know where I wanted to start, but I know that I had a lot of bronzers which are way too warm for me. I have very cool toned skin and I need a very cool toned gray contour. I was very, very pleased with the sponge tip application, with the pigmentation, the way it blended out. I love this liquid formula. Again, I don't usually use liquids, but I was really impressed with it. I used it, how much usage should I get out of it? I'd say a solid 4 months of daily wear. It was fantastic. I don't mind the smell. I don't mind the product packaging. I loved the way it looked on me. It had decent longevity. I'd say for a liquid product on me, it had really good longevity. I would prefer more, but once I put it on and blended it out, it looked great, which is more important to me. I'm struggling with some of these cream products because they're not blending out the way I want them to. And I'm still using kind of drugstore end products on that. So for SheGlam to knock it out of the park, I'm really impressed because I've used some of their other products and they are hit and miss for sure. But this was a hit, and a surprising hit at that. Now, as far as my shopping habits, the reason I haven't repurchased it is because, well, I don't support, some of these fast fashion, high consumer, high marketing, but low quality, very environmentally and consumer destructive practices. So I don't know if I'll be buying it, but I do kind of justify it because I use the entire thing, and to me that is exactly what you should be doing as a consumer, is finding a product and using it all. And if you don't like it, don't buy it again, but I am not going to buy things and fill up my trash with them. Like this was dead when I put it away. I couldn't get any more use out of it. I'm actually surprised it swatched as well as it did. And you can see it gets, nice soft feathery edges, where if I had blended this out immediately with a sponge, it would have been kind of that like very natural looking contour. Maybe not snatched, but very natural contour, which is what I prefer. So super happy about this, and this actually made it into, next to YSL in my great category just because of how much I love this, which is really weird. But I owe it a lot to the shade too, with how grayish, coolish brown it was. So many contours out there are still too warm for people with cool toned skin, and they're great for people who are neutral or warm toned, but I was struggling to find a shade match. I still haven't found the perfect formula, so I'm keeping this in my hip pocket. If I need to buy some more and I can't find a really good shade match, I'm gonna go back to this. And my next two greats are actually both by Tarte, which is kind of unusual because I have a lot of Tarte products, but I consider them for sure to be a safe brand, kind of hovering around in that good but not great. And to me, they were a happening brand that I think is actually kind of losing market share. I don't know about that. I haven't looked up the numbers for it, but if you told me that there were other brands that were rivals for Tarte and outperforming them, I'd be like, yeah, that checks. But I do love their Maneater line of mascara. I've had multiple tubes of Tarts. I've had Light Camera Flashes. I've had their Sex Kitten eyeliner. I've had their Eater line. Um, and I've tubed, I think this is my third Maneater mascara. I switched to waterproof because I wanted a waterproof, because unfortunately their Maneater line does run really bad if you get it wet. But I switched to Buxom waterproof because that was supposed to be like the best next thing. And I didn't like it as much as the Maneater, so I tried the Maneater waterproof formula, which is this is, and I was shocked at how much it applied like the non-waterproof formula. It wasn't as thick and goopy as sometimes the waterproof ones can be. It was just as pigmented, just as black. I can still tell the difference and tell that this is a waterproof formulation, um, but I was really, really pleased with this, and I would definitely go back and buy it again. Um, if it weren't for the fact I have 3 other mascaras right now that I'm trying to ban. But this was super fun. And I love I'm not going to swatch this because it's old and I don't want the bacteria in my eye. I love this really, really aggressive mascara wand tip. Like, they're very fine and very bulky, but that really allows the lengthening and control. This was never clumpy, never thickening, but just highlighted my natural lashes and made them look a mile long and super, super natural. But at the same time, being a dramatic effect. Like, I cannot scream enough praises about the Tarte Maneater mascara. Now, there are other mascaras that I've tried. They're good, but not great. This falls into the great, and for it being a waterproof formula, again, super impressed. I love. Moving on to this. This is one, I caught it. I couldn't do that twice. That I really love. It has the same wand that I like. This one's a little bit better though because it tapers and it's not as obscenely bulky as the last one, but it still has the same type of plastic wands. I know a lot of you don't like that wand, but hear me out. This is a tubing mascara, the Tarte Tartelette tubing mascara, and it really helps apply the tubing formula. I'm using another very recommended tubing mascara by Callie Ray, and she has a traditional sort of pipe cleaner style bristle, and I'm telling it just doesn't go on as well. So try this. Try it if you don't think you're gonna like it. And it gave me the same effect as a regular mascara, which is, you know, the black coverage, easy application, and extreme lengthening without clumping, which is what tubing mascaras typically do. They really coat each individual lash so they don't clump, and I was definitely seeing that. It also has this little flexible joining to the wand, which made it, I thought that was great for application and to prevent stabbing yourself. The only thing I will say is I know this is a mini. This is not a trial size. Like, you're only supposed to get a couple uses of it. Like, I bought this as a mini. I did not get a lot of usage out of this. Like, I got 3 months and I was kind of struggling. But I guess that's about right because I typically only get 6 months out of a tube of mascara, which is good because they have short life expectancies. But that's my only drawback. And I shower at the gyms during lunch, so I really like to have a mascara that holds up with a little bit of water on it. I try not to like pour water on my face, but this tubing mascara was a lifesaver in that. Like, I might get off like one flake when I got out of the shower as opposed to a run or a bunch of flakes that some mascaras will leave. And this so far is my favorite tubing mascara. So if and when it comes time to replace my mascaras, again, I've got 3 that I'm panning right now. This one I probably will repurchase. So I think that says a lot about it. Between it and the Maneater, depending if I want a tubing or a traditional formula, will probably be the determination, but it will definitely be one of them. On to my most hated products. This is where I want to get like super intense and mad at products. This KVD Go Big or Go Home. I know this was older, but I opened it fresh. This is not like I let it sit and go bad. And this is so disappointing. It's supposed to be super, super black. It wasn't. It was just regular mascara black. It's supposed to be super thick. Well, and like making your eyelashes look voluminous. It made you look like you had 3 eyelashes. It was absolutely horrid. And it was the most flaky eyeshadow I've ever had. Mascara I've ever had. And it's weird because I've heard other people review mascaras and they talk about flaky mascaras. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, I just had a really good run with mascaras, I guess. They're on the floor now, about to be thrown into the trash. But they were really, really good. And even this brush, the brush is chunky. Like, if you want a traditional style brush, this is not what I would recommend. I would not recommend something that's super thick, super wide, and doesn't have any flexibility. You know, I was talking about the tartlet. Well, you can bend it. It just absolutely horrific formula, horrific brush, horrific applicator, terrible flaking, no longevity. Did I say that right? I don't care. I don't know. I was contemplating getting rid of this one, but there was so little in it that I was like, I can make it. I can use this up before I throw it away. I can be a good consumer. And then it always felt like there was a little bit more because you can kind of like squeeze the tube up to get it onto the wand, which is also not even a good package design. I don't want my mascara in a squeezy tube that's not even round. If you have the Go Big or Go Home mascara and you like it, please let me know what you love about it, because I hated every second wearing this mascara every day and I just wanted to get rid of it and I hated it. And I dropped all 3 of my mascaras in my lap. That's funny. Now, here's where it gets interesting because I felt I needed to do like a little bit of research into this product. So this is Charlotte's Magic Serum Crystal Elixir, and this was a sample. I did not buy this one. And I got about 5 days out of it. But let me tell you some problems I had. For a sample of a serum, that's fine. You don't really need any more than 5 uses. But this little baby eyedropper barely worked. I understand she want to make it small and in proportional to the tube, but you need a full size dropper so that you can get a full air suction to pull the product into the dropper. Like, this barely works, which is like kind of disappointing. And then it doesn't screw on correctly. And this is another thing I looked up and I'm like, how long have we been using screw top lids? Well, since the mason jar, and the design for the screw top lids was actually patented in about 1880. So the fact that Charlotte Tilbury has a product and the screw top lid doesn't go on level just fundamentally bothers me. Like, if you're paying the money for Charlotte Tilbury, please have your screw top lid screw level into the jar. It's hard to see on camera because it's little, but it gaps and it goes on crooked, and that's absolutely ridiculous. The other problem I had with this product is it smelled like wet rock. Like, if you were to take a handful of tap water and sand and go, that's what this smelled like. It was so bad. Like, it was bad. It wasn't like pungent, fortunately, and I was able to wear it, but it definitely had a very mineral, organic scent to it. And I want my products to smell like nothing or to smell good. I don't really want them to smell like something that I kind of hold my breath when I apply. Again, I'm very sensitive to odors, which is why I talk about it a lot, but I hate it when people review a product and I'm like, oh, this is a great product, and I get it and it smells bad, and it's like, well, I wish I had known. It did absolutely nothing for my skin, needless to say. Granted, I only used it 5 days, but it should feel good when I'm using it. It should smell good when I'm applying it. It should have some sort of effect on my skin, but it didn't. So let's talk about the ingredients here. So the number one ingredient is water, and I'm not mad about that because most serums, the ingredient is water. That's what hydration comes from. It's the universal solvent. It's totally okay that the first ingredient is water. And the next ingredient is niacinamide. And I thought, oh, that's interesting because niacinamide, it's vitamin B3. It helps control your oil production. If you're oily, it's ostensibly can help, if you're dry, it's supposed to help you produce more. And ostensibly, it can help you actually produce less if you're oily. And I have not found that to be the case for me. So I'm kind of moving away from niacinamide solutions. But I'm pleased to see that there's something so high up on the ingredient list that it's actually going to produce something, but it doesn't feel or smell like a niacinamide solution. So I'm like, so what else do they have going on here? Well, they have glycereth and tryptohanoin, glycerin, methyl glycate, and silica. Most of those are preservatives or emollients. Silica especially is one of those, which will help it look and feel good on the skin. And then she's followed it up with Camellia oleifera seed oil. Now, I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up. And it is, well, primarily it's an emollient, but it also does contain some antioxidants. So it contains vitamins A, B, and E, which are natural sources of squalane. So it's a good natural source to have. Personally, I would rather have those actual vitamins in higher concentrations in a serum, because that's what the serum is for. If I were interested in the oil, again, there's other sources to get that oil. So I see what she's doing here, and it is a high-end product. So we're using extracts and oils and things like that. So I think it's going in the right direction, but I think you're paying a premium penny to have something in its natural form when, oh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Just like cocaine, things are more potent when you take it out of its natural form. So I'd rather see a little bit of cocaine. No, I'm kidding. I'd rather see a little bit of seed oil in this. And the next ingredient is quartz powder. Quartz powder? What does quartz do for the skin? Well, nothing, which is why you typically see it in like rollers and stuff. It's pretty and it's cool to the touch, and it could be used for like lymphatic drainage and stuff, but as a powder, rubbing it on the skin, it's not cool and it's not helpful. It's just it's an exfoliant. It's a very fine abrasive, and there's better abrasives on the market, and something that I don't think I want in a serum. I think if I have an abrasive on my skin, it's something that I'm going to want to wash off, and again, not have in a serum. A serum to me should be moisturizing, and it should contain nutrients and things that soothe the skin. That's what I want in it. And for her to add an exfoliant in it doesn't make sense. And I know this is the crystal elixir, but is this how she meant literal crystal, and that's a little bit disappointing, because literal crystals in this is actually kind of antithetical to what I want to see in the product. You know, it's strange that she has aloe listed down further to help soothe the skin, but that she's also putting in sand. It's a ground abrasive. That's why it smells like sand, because it is sand. It's quartz. So this is also probably why I didn't like the product and why I didn't see some of those magic benefits, is because it's a gentle exfoliant, and you can use a chemical peel, you can use a harsher exfoliant. There are other ways to renew the skin and get you that fresh glow besides niacinamide and quartz powder, which are two unusual things to combine. And then the next one is amethyst powder, and I just kind of had to laugh to myself, because again, my start was jewelry. Amethyst is just purple quartz. The most typical impurity is iron, but there are other impurities, and you can't control for that because it's a natural product. And she's not using jeweler's grade amethyst here, I'm sure. Like the fact that she has quartz and amethyst in it, I'm like, why? An exfoliant is an exfoliant. You're not getting different properties from the amethyst as you are from the quartz. So my interest is peaked, but I'm also like starting to get offended, and this is a sample, I didn't pay for it, but the next ingredient on it is ruby powder, and I'm like, her and these crystals, she meant literal crystals. Well, what is ruby? Ruby is sapphire. Sapphire is conundrums. It's okay, no medicinal properties on the skin. It's an exfoliant. So why did she use ruby and not sapphire though? So I'm like, okay, well, what makes a ruby different from a sapphire? What causes the impurities in corundum to look red and not blue? And the answer to that is usually chromium. Chromium produces red hue in a lot of crystals. And what chromium does is it regulates your blood sugar and your lipid levels. When ingested for a period of about 6 months daily, usually 500 to 2,000 micrograms. I'm not sure the dosage there, but um, yeah, don't eat this. It's not going to give you any health effects. It doesn't have any benefit for the skin. Like all the anti-aging properties in it are 100% due to ingestion. Like this is like very questionable stuff she's putting in there. Gold, again, gold in an elixir is not going to do the same thing as have sort of those cooling and antioxidant properties that like a gold leaf mask will have. So it's just getting very expensive without getting very good. I'm not mad about there being preservatives. I'm not mad about there being stabilizers. These are things that I want in a product. I don't want to buy anything off the shelf and start rubbing mold in my face. I'm not okay with that. So I'm actually fine with this very difficult to pronounce ingredient list. And then we also have some leaf extracts, some magnolia fruit extract, which is, again, that's another thing that's interesting that I don't see in a lot of high-end skincare products because I'm really unfamiliar with what they're supposed to be doing on the skin. A carbomer, another callus extract, another acetate. Here's aloe, way down in the low end of the ingredient list. I would like to see this higher in the ingredient list because aloe is a trusted ingredient that people knows what it does. It should be higher than your preservatives and your stabilizers, which are typically in the single digit percents. So to see aloe so low is actually really disappointing. I am skimming these ingredients, and then I see perfume, and I'm like, well, if there's perfume in here, there is not enough. It smelled bad. The next ingredient is plumeria extract, and I love plumeria. I love freesia, but you don't smell it. Um, Lactic acid, which is another mild chemical exfoliant that I would like to see separate. I'm not a fan of putting a lactic acid on the skin and leaving it there. It should generally be washed off the face. That being said, though, it's so low in the ingredient list, I'm wondering if it's really having any sort of beneficial impact to the skin. Citric acid, potato pulp extract. Is that like hard to get? Like, this is a luxury brand. Why am I seeing potatoes in it? Like, because when I think luxury, I don't think potatoes. Um, and then something else I'm running across is carrageenan, and carrageenan is an interesting product. So carrageenan is a thickener, and it's generally recognized as safe. Why you would use it when there are other thickeners, and this isn't meant to be ingested, is a little bit unexciting. I really feel like she could have used something else, just as less water, and it would have been thicker. You know, why are we using carrageenan? Well, and so I looked it up, and some people really believe that it's super helpful. Some people believe that this is a cure-all. Well, it's got like elixir-like properties. Back in the 1850s when we would like peddle elixirs to people, they would claim such as, oh, this reduces colds, reduces illnesses, reduces stuff like that. Well, I've seen some things on that like about carrageenan where they're like, oh, it reduces your likelihood of getting ear infections, and it boosts the positive bacteria on your skin, and it can reduce cancer. And yes, I actually saw someone claim that it reduces cancer, which is interesting because carrageenan that has become unstable actually causes cancer, and it's a known carcinogen. So this is not the carcinogenic form. I'm absolutely positive. Without doing any research, I'm sure that's not what she used. It's very well known to use it safe. But it is disappointing to see something like that when, again, it's widely available, it's not expensive, and there's better products out that can do the same thing. But I guess she had a cut cost because of all the crystals she's got in it from earlier, paying top dollar for that quartz, which by the way is not actually very expensive at all. Quartz is silicon dioxide, which is an extremely common mineral. So it's not expensive. Even amethyst is not expensive. Even jewelry grade irradiated amethyst to have that beautiful purple color is not expensive. So I don't know why she chose to put quartz in it. Some other products. And then I'm seeing vitamin C. Very nice. I'm seeing citric acid. Very nice. And ascorbic acid. Very nice. like I'm sitting like doing one of this is one of the reasons that I got into makeup reviews is that I wanted to figure out what is with these ingredients and why they work, if they work. Like I want to save you money, I want to save me money, and this is all but a scam. It's literally an elixir, like peddling stuff. And she has enough money and enough research and development that she could actually come up with a scientifically valid product. This is extremely questionable from any perspective. It's basically it's an exfoliant that she's thrown in some soothing ingredients such as aloe and like a camellia seed extract oil, which is nice, and there's hints of nice, but it's a ripoff. And if you like it, again, tell me why. Tell me how it makes you feel, but how it makes your skin feel. It's not your therapist. Don't tell me how it makes you feel. But like tell me what you like about it, because I didn't enjoy using the product. I don't enjoy what's in the ingredients. Charlotte Tilbury has, I think she's overpriced, but she has products that I'm okay paying for because it's personal choice. That's where your values are. But I am not okay with this being manufactured and being put in luxe packaging and being charged an arm and a leg for, to find out that it's quartz powder and niacinamide. I will not be buying that. I know, I hope that I've talked you out of buying it. I hope that I've talked you into learning what's in your products so that you don't get screwed. Um, because where I'm really struggling with, if I look at the collection that I just threw on the floor, the makeup products I'm okay with. I had one bad go with the Kat Von D, which I was a little surprised at because I like some of her other products. I was a little surprised that I hated that one so much. But for the most part, I think there's enough competition. They're doing really well. But these like skincare hybrids, that's supposed to be good for your skin and make it more luminous. I'm like, no, it was dirty water. I rubbed dirty water on my face and I didn't like it. Same thing with the micellar waters. Like, I'm really struggling when I just want my skincare to be really good at skincare, and then we can play with makeup. But when you mix the two together and you do a bad job and you leave it up to flashy advertising, that's where I get a little bit upset. So all in all, I think I did a really good job using up my products. I'm excited for the next 6 months. Stay safe with the products that you're putting on your skin. Know what they are. Protect your pocketbook. Don't buy the latest and greatest, because it is not necessary to have everything that's launched. I'm done talking for the day. Thank you so much for watching. My eyeshadow palette today, I didn't mention it, but was my Blend Bunny palette, which is new to me and absolutely fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So if you like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe. If you like the review part, but not the pan part, let me know. If you want to see more pans and less review, let me know. But I had fun doing this. Remember, no matter what you decide to put on your face or not put on your face, beauty is on the inside. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.